Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Development Review Board meeting for Thursday, February 19th. This is the Town of Essex Development Review Board. Calling the meeting to order today. We want to make sure everybody mutes their cell phones online. Make sure that your microphones are muted. If you wish to speak, please identify yourselves by raising your hands, and then you'll identify yourselves and your address when you unmute. We'll start off tonight's meeting with just taking a quick roll call of who is here this evening. We'll start with staff.
Hello, I'm Kent Johnson, Town Planner.
Brittany McGregor, Planning Technician.
Dustin Brusso, Board Member.
Stephanie Bixby, Board Member.
Ian Carroll, Board Member.
Sharon Zukowski, Board Member.
Nick Martin, Board Member.
Trevor Williams, Board Member.
Hubie Norton, Board Member.
Excellent. Thank you. We'll start off with item number 2 on our agenda for agenda additions or changes, and I do have one. Staff, do you have any? None? Okay. I suggest that we make one change in that in business, adding a business item under the business items, which is I don't know why that says 2, but it should be 7. Yeah. I'm going to move 7A to 7B, and I'd like to add 7A, which would be a quick discussion regarding the withdrawal of the site plan for Essex Resort Holdings, just to have that on record that that was withdrawn. Any other changes? Any other changes? Hearing.
I'll move the agenda be accepted as modified.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion made by Dusty, and it's been seconded by Sharon. Any other further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it at 7-0. Okay, the agenda has been accepted. Next thing that we have is the public to be heard. So this section of our agenda, these are for comments from the public on items that are not on this evening's agenda, and a reminder that the purpose of the board is to act on specific applications using the current zoning regulations. For discussions regarding changes to zoning or general philosophy of town business, please bring these topics to the Planning Commission or Select Board. Reminder that we're all neighbors. Please be respectful and keep your comments brief. If someone's already stated your thoughts, please feel free to chime in, but say ditto. That's perfectly acceptable. We'll start off with here in the room. Do we have anybody in the room that has anything that they would like to bring up? Seeing none. How about online? Do we have anybody online? And change my view. Seeing none. Okay, so I would say that the public to be heard section is done for the evening. Which moves us speedily right up to item number 5, public hearing. Oh, minutes. Did I miss the minutes? How did I miss that? Oh, I must have. That's me. Sorry. Minutes of the meeting. I messed around with my agenda. Approval of the minutes of the meeting for January 29th and February 5th. Can I get a motion for the approval of the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes of January 29th and February 5th, 2026.
Okay. Moved by Sharon. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dusty. Further discussion? Any questions about the minutes?
Yes, a couple items.
Let's start with the 29th. Unless you have
Good.
questions not about the 29th, but only about...
Yes, February 5th minutes on line 58. We should change towards the far right, including the October 2022. Approval was a waiver to clear the 50-inch bugger. Probably should be 50-foot buffer.
Butter. Hey, it sounds better.
Yep.
And lines 269 and 278. Hubie, unless you want to keep it, I was the dissenting votes. Or I provided the dissenting votes, not Hubie.
Okay.
Like I said.
No, yeah.
Okay.
So I missed that clarification. Are you switching it to yourself, or are we?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So it's not Hubie Norton instead. It's Nick. Okay. Anything else, Nick?
That was it.
Hubie, do you have any changes
No.
for neither set? Okay. Trevor?
No changes.
Okay. Sharon?
Nope.
Stephanie?
All set.
None. Okay. So we have a motion that's been made and it's been seconded. All those in favor of accepting the minutes of the meeting with the corrections made on the February 5th meeting minutes, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Great. Thank you very much. I believe that puts us now at item 6, not 5, which would be the public hearing. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing for the evening?
So moved.
Moved by Nick, seconded by Sharon. Any further discussion about this? All those in favor of opening the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Quick reminder to everybody that's both in the room and the few that are online as well. We will provide the oath for this evening, and we only have one item on the agenda on the public hearing, but so I will provide the oath now. Those of you in the room and those of you online, if you have any intention on chiming in this evening, I would ask that you would raise your hand emoji, if you would, as we provide the oath, so that we can see that you're in agreement. The oath that we're asking you to swear to would be, do you affirm that the evidence that you are giving in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury? Excuse me.
I do.
You do. Thank you, Sheila. We see you as well. The first item that we have, and the only item that we have in the public hearing this evening, is a sketch plan. It's a minor subdivision for Robert Hill and Laura Shea are proposing a 3-lot subdivision located at 835 Old Pump Road, located in the Conservation or C1 district. Proposed 3 lots consist of the following acreages. Lot 1 is proposed to be about 10.54 acres, spanning both the Jericho and Essex town boundary, with the 0.63 acres in Jericho, including the existing home, and remaining 9.91 acres in Essex. Lot 2 is proposed to be about 13.5 acres in Essex, with access through Jericho, and is proposed for future residential use. Lot 3 is proposed to be 12.39 acres in Jericho. Just a reminder to everybody in the public that we will have town staff provide us an update on the application and have an opportunity for the board to ask the town staff some questions. We'll have applicants that will give us some information, and the board will ask questions. At that point, we will open up to testimony from any interested parties. So interested parties would be those that would be abutting or have direct interest in this project. Let's start off with, if we could, town staff.
Okay, so as you said, this is a minor subdivision. There are 3 lots. One is the lot with the existing home, and I believe it's a barn as well on there. It has access through Jericho, and it's kind of an interesting one. It shows on the map as being 10.54 acres, but as you'll see in the narrative, it's actually just shy of 10 acres in Essex. So it's something that is technically a non-conforming lot as it sits. There's plenty of acreage in Essex on lot 2, which is 13.54 acres. So they can easily just add a little bit more to get it up to that 10 acres in Essex. Lot 2, make sure you get the right lot here, is access through Jericho. It does have frontage in Essex, but the issue that, as it currently sits, is there's a lot of wetlands along the side here. So the only access route is through Jericho. We've had our zoning administrator look at it, and she is fine with having the curb cut there. I've also spoken to Public Works. They're set with that and fine. They did indicate that since the driveway to lot 2 is roughly 930 feet, they recommended having some pull-offs along the side just for emergency access. They don't have any issues with it otherwise. It's a pretty straightforward subdivision. Staff is recommending that there be a building envelope on lot 2 just because of the wetlands. They can make it as big as they like. But just as make it easier so they don't go into that area. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay, thank you. Board members, questions for staff? Hubie?
No, not really. I could see where the access is in Essex is the way the lot is shaped to hoop around there and so on. So, that was one question I had, but now I can see more clearly. I do, the way the map that we have, it appears that the town line runs through the existing house, but
It does.
Yeah.
it does.
Yep.
Okay.
My son grew up in Essex. I live in Jericho.
In his bedroom.
People always ask me, well, do you pay taxes to both towns? And the answer, as you know, is
Yes.
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 Luckily, it's not Derby line.
Right.
No, I don't have any other questions at the moment.
Okay. Trevor?
No, I don't have any questions.
Nick?
Yes, you mentioned that zoning administrator had reviewed the site and said was okay with the curb cut where it's proposed. Does
Yes.
that mean because it's located in Jericho, she has the authority to do so?
No. So we had a couple other similar subdivisions come up in the past that were on the town line. And in those instances, the way that it was laid out, they were not viable. It didn't work. This one, because it's a private driveway, it's acceptable to the town of Essex, the way that it's set up. So it's something that we had her review. The whole zoning permit process, she ends up signing. So we get a curb cut application, it goes to Public Works. Public Works will go out, they'll inspect it, make sure that the curb cut is okay. They'll check and make any recommendations, sign off on it. It'll come back to our zoning administrator, and then she's the final one who signs the building permit. So she kind of has the final overview of the whole thing of if it works and makes sense. So instead of allowing the application to get too far down the line where they come to pull a building permit, we go, oh, your access is in Jericho. We checked with her in advance, and she was all fine with that. So there's not going to be an issue later on when they come to build their home.
Will they need to go through the same process with the town of Jericho?
So the town of Jericho, for us, it's a two-step process of the sketch, and then it's prelim and final combined. Town of Jericho is a one-step process. So the applicant's plan, from what I was told, is that they're going to submit to Jericho and then submit the prelim and final to us at the same time.
Okay.
And Jericho has seen the plans, and they have said that they're fine with it. It was a very just kind of first look at it, but first look, they're good.
Okay. Those are my questions right now.
Thank you. Sharon?
Good.
Okay. Stephanie?
No, good.
Dusty?
So I'm going to challenge back on staff a little bit because I see this application as presenting us with two non-conforming lots, not one.
Okay.
Because we've had applications before where the access was requested to come in through Jericho and it was refused. The request of Public Works to have pull-offs on every 900 feet or along the driveway was not enforceable on our side and is strictly within Jericho. So we can't meet our own regulations because we can't enforce road construction, driveway construction to our standards because it's in Jericho. So I don't find that, and I'd love to hear from the applicant too, but I'm finding that Lot 2 is equally as non-conforming as Lot 1. So I'm challenged to see how we can call this a simple subdivision, and I don't see where it fits.
Because of the driveway access.
Access, period.
Period.
I'm looking at Article 3.1G. F and G both talk about it. D talks about it, but we can't have, the driveway is not in the town of Essex. There's no legal requirement to meet the Public Works, Essex Public Works construction standards. There's nothing that we can say, it's not in Essex. We can ask them to put pull-offs on the drive, but we have no way to enforce it. So I don't, at this point, I don't see not lot 2 as being a conforming lot. Because it's not in Essex, its access is not in Essex, it doesn't have existing access in Essex. Road frontage is not an issue because I see where there's road frontage in Essex.
Yep.
So that's where I'm stuck on this right now. So when we get to the applicant's discussion, I'd like to hear from them as well, but I don't see it conforming.
Okay. And I did reach out to Town of Jericho to try to get what their public works standards are for theirs to see
But our
if it is the same.
But it doesn't matter. Our regulations say it has to meet
Our regulations.
our zoning regulations completely. Our subdivision says it has to meet all the conditions in the zoning regulations. The zoning regulations call out
Yeah.
that it has to be, you know, it has to be our regulations. And in a drive and access, construction in another town is not required to meet our regulations. So we can put all the conditions we want in there, and they can choose to meet them or not, but I think it's a non-conforming lot.
I can certainly look into it more and see.
I'm
I
laying
think
out
they're
there,
I
so-
think they're very valid concerns. I'm not dismissing them. I think it's something that I'd have to look into more.
I
and,
can identify
maybe-
a prior subdivision was gonna come in off of Skunk Hollow Road and go into land in Saxon Hill. The land in Saxon Hill was in Essex. The access was going to be coming in off from Skunk Hollow.
I think that was a non-conforming lot because it didn't have frontage. Because there was two other ones.
I'm not arguing that. But,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Again, it's access off from another land. We had no access to it. We had no control over it. So,
Yep.
anyways, enough of that.
Well, then let's, we've all had our opportunity to check with staff. Why don't we hear from the applicant on this and see if that helps clear some of this up?
Thank you.
Gentlemen, identify yourselves if you would.
Brian Courier, Larry Burke, Civil Associates.
And I'm Robert Hill. I'm the
Landowner, yeah, applicant.
So my view on the conformity piece of this, you have one lot that's 36 acres. That's pretty much 50-50 split right down the middle. As far as nonconformities go, you got a split zone or a split intermunicipal parcel where it even goes through the house. What we're going to end up with at the end of the day here is a 100% conforming parcel in Jericho and 100% a conforming parcel in Essex. I believe lot 2, per the zoning regs, meets your minimum lot size, totally in Essex, meets your frontage in Essex. We're going to meet all the setbacks that are in Essex. All of these zoning regulations, which typically nonconformities, you're referencing zoning regs, not public works standards, zoning regs. We have access, all right? You're required to have an access. Doesn't say anywhere in the zoning regs your access has to be in the town of Essex. In that Skunk Hollow, example, like there's an existing home off of that private access from Skunk Hollow now. So I don't know what the application was to add to it. I do know the property you're referring to, Dusty.
Yeah.
But that's the case now. That's an example of that was approved at one time where that driveway certainly is through the town of Jericho, serves a town, a single family home in Essex with a lot that meets zoning regs in Essex up until frontage, which my understanding, the history there is that when that lot was created, frontage wasn't a requirement back in the day, but nonetheless, anyway. So in my view, it's becoming more conforming through this subdivision. The only piece of this that I see is non-conforming. By non-conforming, it's less non-conforming than it is now, is lot 1. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about lot 1 because the municipal boundary goes through the house. So I can't put the entirety of lot 1 in the town of Essex as much as, I think we'd like to. I think Mr. Hill would like to also. We're not willing to take a bite out of what it takes to move a municipal boundary at this point. So I think staff suggestion is a good one where, if we're 9.9 or 9.8 acres or whatever it is in the town of Essex, we'll make sure that we have a full 10 acres to meet the C1 zoning standards in town. But I don't see lot 2 as a nonconformity. If the only thing that you're saying you can't enforce is your public works standards, well, meeting public works standards or not, I don't believe raises to a nonconformity or not. Again, I think nonconformities deal with zoning regs, not public works standards. That's my take. We need approval from the town of Jericho for that driveway. Now, the town of Jericho, reviews applications, seriously. They have a DRB just like you folks do, only 5 members, but we need the same approval from the town of Jericho. Now, we don't mind doing pull-offs and those sorts of things if you include them as approval conditions, and we agree to them. I think that we have to do them regardless. But, it is a slight, well, it is a unique circumstance. You don't see too many split intermunicipal parcels such as this. But given the constraints, given the size of the area, there's certainly enough area for 3 lots out here. And we agree with staff that we feel this is a fairly straightforward as far as intermunicipally split parcels go. So we are here at Sketch. We have done test pits, plenty of septic capacity out here. The wetlands, as Brittany indicated, are on the eastern side. So the driveway is only through the town of Jericho because there is a massive wetland on the eastern side. If I go to the wetlands program and tell them that, the town of Essex doesn't like the fact that there's a driveway coming from the end of Jericho, they're going to say, too bad, I'm not going to issue you a permit for acres of wetland impacts in order to impact that lot in the back. So that's really our only option to access that lot in the back. So again, given its sketch, I think what we're looking for here is that this board is comfortable, as is the town of Jericho currently, with our configuration so we can push this over the edge and file a plat and work on on-site, water and wastewater stuff. But yeah, happy to discuss it more.
Dusty, questions for applicant?
I mean, I still stand on it. I know it's not the public works standard, but it does say Town of Essex standard specifications for construction for the rights of way. It talks about following all standards. This is in the zoning regulations. So I still don't find there's a need to have lot 1 as non-conforming because of the small size, or is it lot 3? It's
Lot 1 needs just a slight change in
right.
acreage.
So lot 1, as presented, is non-conforming. There's no reason that it can't be made conforming. Lot 2, I still say it doesn't have access that meets the standards.
Yeah.
We can't enforce building. We can't put a construction enforcement on anything in the town of Jericho. So we can say it in good faith and so forth, but there's no enforcement. There's no requirement to build it in any way other than what Jericho requires. And that doesn't necessarily fit our regulations. So I'm going to stand on that. I feel that it's a two non-conforming lots that are being proposed in front of us today. And I know we're at sketch.
Okay. If we, well,
And I know
let's
we only
take
need a majority. We don't need a unit.
let's take lot 1 off the table. We're talking about moving a boundary line like feet here in order for it to be conforming. So if you're saying then lot 2 is the only non-conforming lot that's in front of you, well, you have one large non-conforming lot in front of you, or that exists today, by making it a lot that is 13.5 acres in the town of Essex. Even if I concede that, which I don't believe, but even if I did, that the driveway coming into Jericho could be seen as a nonconformity, it's still less nonconforming than the lot that exists today. It's 36 acres, split in 2 towns.
Okay, I'm not quite agreeing.
It's less nonconforming than the lot that's there today. It's 36 acres.
If you're not building on it, it's not. Anyways, different way of looking at it.
Can I add a couple
Yep.
items?
Yeah.
Sure.
So I've lived there 28 years. My neighbors across the street, their driveway starts in Essex, but the house is in Jericho.
Yeah.
So it's the mirror of this situation. Obviously, it could have been done before the rules of this came into place. our motivation for doing this is it's a very old house that we're in now. We love the house, but I'm planning to live longer than I want to go up and down those stairs because it's very steep stairs. So my wife and I started talking, and we do have 36 acres. It's 10 acre zoning in both towns. So our plan is to build our retirement home. We farmed here for 25 years and we're retired from that. My kids didn't want to farm anymore. So we're planning to build our retirement home that'll all be on one level in Lot 3, and we just didn't want to leave our heirs with some kind of weird setup where there's 20 acres of land in Essex that can't be subdivided. We're not planning to build something there, but we would like to have that option down the road for our kids someday. So that's where we're at, and I'm totally fine with putting some kind of stipulation on whatever the approval is that driveway, if it ever is built, has a pull-off for emergency vehicles or whatever that would conform with the rules.
I sort of, you made me think of something, Dusty, also is a question for staff. Can we enforce pullovers on, because we have a 930-foot road, right, which...
The majority of which is in
So-
Jericho.
So, I mean, I'm not saying anybody's not honest, but like down the road,
Well, I don't think we can.
it's another town.
I don't even think we can require them in Essex. We can ask for them. But we can't, that's kind of my point, is
So it's, it's a, dangerous
it's a
situation.
different town. And if the standards in Jericho change, they don't sync up with Essex. I don't know,
That's a long, road.
This is sketch, so I don't have to get into that much detail. I
Yeah.
sort of stated where I feel we're on this, and I'll leave it for you guys to chew on.
Stephanie, do you have questions?
No.
No? Sharon, do you have more?
No.
Nick?
I think I'm kind of on the same wavelength as Dusty. That's why I asked some of the questions I did earlier, but I don't have anything further right now.
Trevor?
No, I don't have anything.
QB, questions for the applicants?
Yeah, I have, so, obviously not necessarily a part of this application, but it sounds like you plan to continue with, to leave the existing home would still be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be sold or whatever, and you would build a new home.
Or my kids might want to live there. We don't have a plan for that yet. We're not going to put
So,
the cart before the horse.
my question, I guess, is, probably partly for staff, is it possible to have another living unit on lot number 1? Now, I know there's huge constraints as far as the wetland. The blue line is the 50-foot buffer line for the wetland, correct? Mm-hmm.
That's the buffer.
That's the buffer line. So the orange dotted line, that's the wetland edge.
That is, the dashed one is the soils line. There's a red
The
line.
red line with the dots on it, that's the
Yeah.
wetland, the edge of the wetland.
Correct.
So that was determined by,
Fitzgerald Environmental this summer.
oh, okay, so wasn't come off a map or whatever, this was a field?
No, they mapped it out, and there's tags out there. When I was mowing the field, I saw it all.
So for example, okay, so back to the question, could there be another living unit on lot number 1? Say there was no wetland there, could there be another living unit there? So you could have up to 2 living units on that lot, right? There's nothing that prevents that, is that correct?
Correct. You could have you could have an accessory dwelling unit or a single family home.
Okay, and without saying, okay, I'm gonna design something, potentially, see where it says on the upper left of lot number 1, it says town zoning boundary. Looks to be there's a space right in there where you could potentially put another living unit that might come off that same driveway.
Yes, but the driveway, and I don't think it's a problem, but the driveway is in Jericho.
But, right,
It's the same situation that we're,
yeah, I'm just saying that there does seem to be the potential that you could have another living unit on lot one, and to
That's-
avoid the wetlands, it could go up in that upper
Yeah.
left-hand corner.
Public Works standards only allows 2 homes off of a single driveway. So
Okay, well, we're back.
depending on what
well, we're
Jericho
back-
standards
Right.
are, Essex
And
will
we're,
allow it.
and we don't really need to re-engineer.
Oh, no,
What
no,
the-
no, no, oh, no, I'm just asking, I'm asking the question because I'm saying, what could the future bring for this lot? Okay? Could we end up, if we said, okay, yeah, we understand this long driveway, whatever, is okay, and now, later, we get a request for another living unit up in that upper left-hand corner that comes off that same driveway, okay? Would that be a problem?
To sort of echo what you said, Ian, I mean, that starts to get into the realm of what ifs and so forth, and it's more like a planning type initiative, whereas what's in front of us is a simple subdivision request. So, can we even, I mean, is that part of what you would use for consideration, or is that just a question to think about the future?
It's a question to think about the future, what could be, what could happen, because lot one, the way that lot could be utilized, that the existing house could be torn down, there could be a new house built, maybe all in Jericho, okay?
Yeah,
But if we're looking at this thing based on.
It's not.
Our.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Ian.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
If we're looking at this from our judicial aspect, we have in front of us a simple subdivision, not even houses, which is why I think staff suggested including a building envelope. Because this isn't this isn't a building application at this point. This is just a subdivision request. So I'm hesitant, I'm hesitant to understand, or hesitant, I'm not quite understanding where we can look at what might be on here when we have an application based on regulations in front of us. We're not looking at a housing application, we're not looking at a further development, we're looking at a simple subdivision, simple parceling, minor subdivision, I guess would be the right term to use anyways, I'll be quiet.
Further questions, Huey?
Well, so,
For the applicant.
so simple subdivision does not require a master plan.
A
No.
minor subdivision, right?
Minor, yeah.
Minor no.
Any further questions?
No.
Okay. I just have one quick question for you guys. So understanding that the extremely long driveway is in Jericho, who would service this in an emergency response?
I'm not sure how fires right on a municipal line are
Yeah.
serviced. My guess is it's both.
The challenge because the house address
Yeah, I
is
mean,
Essex
if
and
it's a
the
significant fire, you usually see, Shelburne, Essex, West,
It
you
probably-
see the whole. I don't know if you've had that.
It would
Hopefully, you haven't had that
I
experience.
will tell you, it would really
but,
depend on the time of year, because if it's a sunny, warm day and Palmer's Ice Cream is busy, there's already been an ambulance they couldn't get through.
Yeah,
down there.
yeah.
So, but I'm not sure how that works.
The reason why I'm asking is because I see the comment from fire department stating that they would want the roadway, at least the Essex portion of the roadway, to meet NFPA standards and make sure that it's 20 feet wide. So obviously, town of Essex and the Essex Fire Department can ask for that. That doesn't mean that necessarily it's going to have to be that way in Jericho, and the bulk of the driveway is in Jericho. So I'm just asking. That's why I was asking the question about who services it, because
Yeah,
I doubt that you're going to make it narrow and then broad for just the portion of
I
Essex.
think we're gonna,
So,
we would do it however
okay.
the regulations are.
Yep.
yeah, I mean, Jericho has their own fire department.
Yep.
They're going to have their own staff report.
They will.
That's going to have their own comments about what they'd like to see. I mean, this isn't.
Right.
It's not like we just have a cup of tea with the town of Jericho here.
No,
We
no.
go through the town process over there too.
Right. Yeah, it's tricky because you have to come to us for sketch,
Understood.
and then once if we said yes at sketch, then you have to go and present it to both of us on your final. So
And hope we don't change.
And hope it doesn't
after
change.
both meetings too.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
yeah. So okay. Anything further that you would like to add?
Well, I think we need clear direction because this is either a two-lot subdivision, which would, in my view, be a shame over a technicality, or is it a three-lot subdivision?
Okay.
That's the clarity we need.
Yep.
Leaving here tonight.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for staff or applicant?
I just make a note on line 113, for the traffic, that most of the driveway to lot 2 is located on lot, it says 1, it actually is lot 3.
Correct. Dusty, any further questions? Stephanie?
I'm a creative thinker. And this is a unique situation. And you are the landowner and you have a right for us to consider options for you to do what you want to do with your land within the bounds of the regulations. Since it's such a unique boundary hugging thing, has there ever been, I'm not saying we can, but has there ever been a time where both towns kind of come together and look at the plan as not one, but we both have to weigh in on it, and it just seems like this is a time where you would collaborate a little bit with the other municipality that's involved. Because I get what everybody's saying, but there's a part in Essex, there's a part in Jericho. I just think that there could be some collaboration so that it works out, because I hear what everybody's saying, but I don't think it's far off from being able to work. That would just be my thought.
I don't know the backstory of any of them, but I know that there are several out there. I know there's one even on the boundary of Essex and Colchester, where I believe access is from Essex and the house is in Colchester. It's a very short driveway too. There's quite a few. Skunk Hollow has several.
Across the street here, there's one.
Yeah.
Just the opposite.
Yeah, they're
Driveway's in
all
Essex,
over.
Houses in Jericho.
Yeah, I don't know how they came about. I know the ones that in the past we declined. One of them was a major subdivision, so they were putting a road in, so it became the road. So it was Public Works would have to physically leave Essex to maintain a road that was like partially through Jericho. So that is a totally different situation.
And this isn't, because this isn't a public road. This
correct.
is a private
It's a
drive.
driveway. Yeah, so it's a totally different situation. They're out there and they exist. I just don't know how they came to be on
Okay.
each specific one. But it's something that it's not super common, but it's out there.
Now, things we could do, I could pull the house short, further down. If the fire chief's, 900 feet sounds like, benchmark length for a driveway, we could certainly pull the unit further or closer down to be probably in the 800 range. We could, instead of having a shared driveway, which is what he was calling for NFPA, we could just have a single driveway. Like, there's no reason we can't have two curb cuts on Old Pump Road. We have a ton of frontage on Old Pump Road. I just did it as shared. So we can be more accommodating to some of the comments and how they would be looked at from the town of Essex. But
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at what Dusty's saying, and Nick is feeling like we can't control what's going to happen on the Jericho side, but if the Jericho side agrees to the regulations around how Essex would want it done with those conditions, it would be a little bit more codified in their side that they would enforce those things. So I'm just thinking of that shared, hey, like this part's here, but we would want X. Would you put that in the condition of your application?
Yeah.
That's just kind of how my mind's thinking. Like, there is a way to, we can't enforce it, but could Jericho put it in on their condition so that they would have legal right to enforce it?
And we may find when they review it that they have those requirements in place
Right.
too, because NFPA standards are
Right.
you know,
So
National.
nationwide.
that's just where my thought process is going.
Okay. Sharon, questions, comments for staff or applicant?
No questions.
Nick?
Just throwing, just throwing it out there. You had mentioned that you could potentially shorten the distance of the drive for the house that would be on lot 2. What's to propose or limit that house being placed on what would be in this plan lot 3? Just cutting off that short piece and then redrawing the line into lot 2 and 3 that would kind of divide it more equally or something along those lines.
Yep, we could, if that's another possible.
It essentially
avenue.
eliminates the town, the house from being
Yeah,
town.
I mean, we could put the town on the Jericho side. We just need the acreage in Essex. It would essentially be the same thing as what's going on in Lot 1.
Right.
Right.
And so we wouldn't have half of this conversation. Or
If that's a path forward the board will accept, I don't think you have an issue with moving the house
Yep.
over to the Jericho side.
just a thought.
No?
Giving away our tax dollars. That's nice.
I'll tell you when you're out there, and I've walked around out there, you don't know what the town boundary is.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's
Costs more to have the house.
That's all, Mr. Chair.
Trevor, any questions or comments for applicants or staff?
No.
Hubie, anything left?
No, not at the moment. No.
Do you feel, Hubie, that you have enough information at this point to make a decision?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Public hearing? Or do we
We
open
haven't
it
done
up?
that.
We haven't done that yet. No. I'm just trying to get a quick poll of where we're at and see what else we need. Trevor, do you have enough information you thought to make a decision at this point before we hear from the public?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Nick,
Yeah, this is sketch right now,
Yeah.
so sure.
Sharon,
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yeah.
Dusty, you have enough? Okay. So at this point, we do want to make sure that we provide an opportunity for anybody in the public to weigh in. Do we have any interested parties that would like to speak on this application? I'm seeing none in the room, so I'm wondering if there's anybody online that has questions or comments that they would like to share. Yes, Sheila, I recognize you. Can you unmute and turn your camera on, state who you are and where you live? Hi, Sheila.
Okay, first, yeah, Sheila's King. Kendall Chamberlain, 966 Old Pump Road. And I just wanted to speak in favor of Bob and Lori doing whatever they want to do on their property. They've been fantastic neighbors, and I'm hoping they'll stay our neighbors in Essex. So, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none. Then I would take a motion at this point to close the public hearing since we have. You may.
I kind of like the idea if that house from lot 2 could be shifted across the town line to the other side. That's a kind of an interesting thing to think about. It would keep the driveway frontage logical to where the house is. Would that work for you to do it that way? You would need to curve the lot around. Is that something to really think about?
No, I mean, we can certainly make it work. What it's going to create is a second municipally split lot. So
Yeah, it's right. It's you. Right, you wouldn't. Right, the frontage might be a problem.
How much is that?
oh, we can't get the acreage in Jericho mathematically. We just don't have 10 acres
Right.
in Jericho.
There's 24 acres in Essex, so just like from a common sense point of view, kind of makes sense. to
Yeah,
have
yeah,
houses in
yeah.
Essex.
Yeah, no, I understand that, and I'm not trying to redesign it, but I just didn't.
No,
If it was,
please. Yeah,
and then I guess my only other question is with having the driveway in Jericho, but the lot building in Essex. I'm not sure if that really causes a problem or not. I mean, that does seem to be an interesting point. I mean, people can have an access drive across somebody else's property. They don't need a direct frontage themselves. So this is kind of going across somebody else's property. It just happens to be landing then in a different municipality. So I've not looked at that myself, but
Going across
yeah.
going across property in the same municipality is just an easement.
Yep.
Right? But
Yeah.
now we're going across property in two different municipalities, and it could be a simple easement again, but I think we're, anyways, I've said what I said.
Yeah, I just, when I reviewed the zoning regs, I can't find anything that says that's not allowed. So what you're saying is not allowed is for something not to be built to the town of Essex standards, and you're not willing to, put trust that the town of Jericho is going to enforce their driveway standards. And there's a lot of driveways in Jericho, way more than Essex, I would argue.
I think
Question of trust. It's a question
Well,
of what's
that-
the future. It's the
that
future.
they will have the jurisdiction of what that driveway looks like. Okay? However you want to phrase it, but
yeah. Okay. I think we're at a position where we could close the public hearing.
I'll move that we close the public hearing for this
Second.
application.
Okay, motion's been made by Dusty, seconded by Sharon. Any further discussion about closing the public hearing? Hearing none. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye. Aye. Motion carries 7-0. So then, little debate. We are now at the position where we have an opportunity to chat amongst ourselves, if we would. Do you have enough information to make a decision? You do.
I do.
Yep. And Stephanie, you do? Sharon, you do?
I think so.
Yeah.
So
And Nick?
this is a sketch plan, so what is the decision that needs to be made?
Great question.
I think we have to make some conditions about going to.
No, we don't.
Yeah, I think we just have to provide direction. It's just more about direction of if there's any additional direction that we can offer for them.
I have an issue with the length of the road and the fact that we have no control over it. I
Mhm.
don't know if that's an attorney question. Like,
But that would be if we don't have to vote on sketch anymore, do we, or do we? So we don't vote on sketch. You
Yeah.
can do
we
this
don't?
with a simple
No.
straw poll.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. Yep, so being before us, we can decide with a straw poll
Right.
whether or not we have some serious concerns or whether or not it would be acceptable if it came back to us with, and providing comments that would allow the developer to say, well, I like this, but this is what be okay, but we'd like to see this.
Gotcha.
So let's take the straw poll. UB, how are you feeling about this?
I think it's fine, okay, that, we've heard the applicant say that, they could make, the roadway or the driveway with pullouts and so on, that would provide, the kinds of requirements that the fire department had mentioned. My way of looking at this is that, this applicant is putting in a driveway that has a length that is at their own peril, if you will, okay? If their driveway, this is what they want to do, it's their land, let them do it. I think the question of whether they're accessing from Jericho or from Essex, I think is a moot point.
Okay.
Yes, I don't have any big objections to this. I mean, it's their land. They should be able to do what they want within the laws. It's just kind of unfortunate that it's in two towns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just, the other thing would be the boundary line adjustment in order to make the lot conforming.
Right, yeah, the boundary line would have to, lot one would have to be conforming, yep. Nick?
I'm thinking another alternative could be that if the town of Jericho moves forward and approves the plan as is, or something very similar along those lines, we would have that assurance from the town of Jericho that they would enforce their code on any driveway this length or in any other stipulations that they set forth, and then we would have something more solid to make a decision on our end. And so if staff recommends or stated earlier that it's only a one-step process versus a two-step process for us, it potentially, to me, means that it could happen faster than what we could do anyway. So that's also an alternative to think about.
Well, they still have to come back for a second to us.
True, but right now we're in sketch with something that town of Jericho
Hasn't approved yet.
has looked at, but has no
Yep.
official record of,
Correct.
or no official motion on.
Sharon?
I mean, if they come up with a new plan with the driveway shorter, that'd be great. But as to being able to do whatever you want with your land, if that were true, none of us would be here. Just have to make that point,
No, reasonable use. Reasonable use.
Right, but just within the regs. But like, I just hate, I know, but I just hate to hear that comment. Like, it's their land, they can do whatever they want. I mean, then why are we even here? But that is irrelevant.
Yes. Stephanie?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Hubie and Trevor. It's reasonable use. I like Nick's comment about, potentially getting it approved by Jericho first before it comes here so we can see what their driveway recommendations are. So, I mean, as somebody who grew up in the Northeast Kingdom, I've seen a lot longer driveways than this. So.
Dusty?
I'm going to stand on that I don't believe this as presented is acceptable. I think we need to eliminate the driveway and access concerns before it comes back. One vote. And I think the applicant can be creative and find a way to do that, great. If they don't, then I don't find it's, because it's been done in the past does not mean it can be done now. And that's what I think we run into that all the time. And I think we've got, the driveway, I just looked them up, and the pull-off says a shall, not a should. So, again, unless that's Essex requirements, not necessarily Jericho's.
Yep.
And even if they don't stay in sync, I think we need to have it all in I think the access and the lots, the building need to be in one municipality or the other.
Okay.
Maybe someday we can get an attorney opinion on this kind of situation, so we,
For sketch?
not for sketch, but
Yeah.
in general. I mean, I assume it will end up in preliminary, I don't know, the next steps.
It's very possible. For my 2 cents, I don't see any issues with the house being built on the Essex property. I do have questions about the length of the driveway. I do understand the access that you're looking for. And Dusty has a great point about the fact that we don't have any control over any of the standards there on the Jericho side of it. I agree with Nick that I would love to see the Jericho application, or at least have an update of what Jericho's standards are, so we can see how closely they mirror our own and whether or not there will be some large discrepancies. But I don't have a problem with this at sketch at this point. Anything else, gentlemen?
Don't think so.
Okay. In which case, I think we've exhausted this matter.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Okay. We are now on to
6A,
business items.
7A, excuse me.
7A. Or on my handy little cheat sheet, 2A, which it's not really 2A. So 7A. Just a quick discussion regarding the withdrawal from the site plan from the application from Essex Resort Holdings. This was the application that we heard in our last meeting. Just a quick note for public consumption that application, while we were in deliberations about and having success discussing with each other. The applicant has withdrawn that at this time, so there is no decision that needs to be made. We just want to get that on record so that
Do we have to like do a formal closing it? Or?
we don't, because it was withdrawn. So it's just a matter of just just correct. It's no longer a valid application. So this was really just a matter of just publicly stating that it's no longer before us. So any member of the public who was looking at minutes of the meeting and trying to figure out what happened with all this, they have an understanding about it's
Right.
no longer a valid app. So
And you probably notified the interested parties, right?
yeah.
I figured.
Yep.
Did you say that that night they withdrew?
No, not that night.
Oh.
No,
I think it was like a day ago, right? or something?
They withdrew
just a couple days ago. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
so 2 days ago.
Okay. That takes care of business item A, 7A to 7B. Further discussion and action, if necessary, regarding our operating procedures. So we had a meeting on the 29th of January. We had an opportunity to have a lot of discussion, and I know that while I wasn't physically present here last meeting, we had more discussion about it as well. So we have an opportunity with a little bit of time here this evening, and we can go back and talk about a few things that we'd like to have changed in our operating procedures. Some of the items that we talked about were when we want to make sure we're swearing in and opening the public hearing, and can we change one of the things, we're changing some of the terms in our agenda. Can we change perhaps the term of deliberations? So as we decide, if we decide that we want to go into a deliberation, not a deliberative session, could we maybe change that to a discussion session as opposed to a deliberation session? So I'm not sure that that's something.
Well, I think it's, you just say deliberative session versus deliberation. And
Right.
That's what's in the law, right?
Right. Yep.
And I think that keeps getting confused that, it's not a deliberative session when we go into deliberation. It's just
Correct.
deliberation. And maybe we
Correct.
can
But there was a lot of question about
I
it
know.
last time.
We
So
can put that in the
Yeah.
procedures, right?
yep. So that's definitely something that we could add to the
And
procedures.
Then when we're dead and gone, the next people don't have to argue with
Yep.
us.
So that can be added as a glossary item as well.
Correct. Yep. Yep. Glossary. I had suggested that we move the definition of vice chair from item N to item E, so it's with the other definitions of the as it was outlined before. Chair, secretary, and vice chair are all together in the same spot. It's really not a big deal other than that. I'm not realizing that it was alphabetically listed, so which is why V for vice chair was at the bottom. And we want to add a definition of the town staff as well in our handbook. We were talking about replacing the operating details regarding the conflicts of interest. We should change that to the state statute, and we would probably have that with a hyperlink to the state statute as opposed to outlining it specifically in the book. So if it's the state statute changes,
That's a good idea.
it would be updated automatically. We talked about making sure that the start time for the meetings is correctly noted in our operating procedures to 6:30 and not 6 o'clock. We had a question about written forms of communication regarding corrections to written approvals or denial letters, and that was a question that came up that we didn't. Dusty, you brought that up, and we didn't get a chance to actually talk about that much that night. I know that Kent had a couple of marching orders, if you will. One which was we had asked about having town email addresses, Outlook addresses for our conversations specifically, so that they're within the town confines when we're talking about applications as opposed to in our personal emails. Go
I
ahead.
do have an update if you want me to
Yes, please.
say it now. Okay. So email licenses would be about $12.50 per month per user. So that would be about $1,000 a year if the 7 of you wanted to have town email addresses. There is some administrative work that needs to happen with that. It's not a big effort, but it's an initial effort to set things up, and then there is some periodic work that IT needs to do for dealing with emails. So it's not nothing. It's a pretty small amount, but it still is some staff time to do with that. So my thought was, I'm feeling like the only time you would be using your emails would either be scheduling meetings, which isn't really subject to records request anyways, you're just scheduling meetings, or if you were deliberating in private through email, and that's not subject to records requests either. So I'm not sure what else you would be doing that you'd be worried about with the emails. You could, just for clarity for organizing your emails, you could have a separate email set up just for this, like you have. But with that said, Greg weighed in on it, and he felt like he could see how an argument could be made that your quasi-judicial board, there could be rationale to have this, and if the DRB is really serious about this, then he would like to see a proposal put together that would include the cost and what is your proposal if you would like to have the town email addresses. So that's what I was able to find so far. Did you have any other particular questions that I might be able to answer about that?
I'm personally a little challenged by the statement. It's $12
So Greg
per
says
person per
we
year.
have to,
$12 per person per month.
Yeah, see, that's
that seems high, right?
that's kind of a, I don't know who came, so I'm not casting aspersions on the individual who said that, but that's bullshit. You buy Microsoft licenses or you buy email licenses by bulk. You don't buy 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 7. You buy 5 to 10. You buy 5 to 100. You buy 100
Right.
to 1,000. You know, so I would be very, very hard pressed to believe that the town has exactly the number of email addresses it is purchased in use today. Otherwise, there'd be no new employees able to come in easily. So we're talking about 7 rotating licenses. They're not going to be in perpetuity. There are going to be 7 licenses assigned to DRB members, sitting DRB members, and that's it. And it could be generic licenses. It could be, you could be DRB 1, you could be DRB 2, and you take that spot for the time. So I'm absolutely not doubting what you were given for information or who gave you information, but I think they're pulling numbers out of their air.
Well, I mean, it's the IT office who, the IT department who manages the emails indicated that licenses are about $12.50 per month per user.
Yeah, see, it could be, but if that's the case, then the town's overpaying in the first place.
Is that an operating cost, maybe? Is that, is what he's saying,
Yeah.
that the management
Well, like,
of
like-
the email addresses?
Like, for example, there are security functions that go along with that. If you see a suspicious email, there's a thing you can click on. It automatically goes to somebody who can then look at it, can verify if that's an okay email or not. So that's a service that we pay for. Also, there's no ads on our screens. It's not like a Yahoo account where you just have ads all over the
I have no
place.
ads.
I have no ads
I'm
on
going
my
to say that a
emails.
number of us come from companies that do this and manage large numbers of email accounts, and it's not, you pay per block of users. So
Well, and perhaps the town
I
could
hate
get a
it, so I
better.
can't argue it, but-
Perhaps the
My
town
own
could get a
account's like
better.
5 emails. I pay like $25 and something.
most of these are,
And there's no ads.
and you're doing it generally you're doing it per year, and you're buying a block of licenses. Then it's a rotating operating cost per year. And if you're buying permanent license, then it's a capital cost. It's one-time purchase. Anyways,
Yeah.
Interesting.
so it doesn't. It sounds like an off-the-cuff sort of response. Pulling out of the air. It's $12. Here it is.
I've seen similar costs like this when we send out bids for appraisals. You can tell the appraisers that actually want to do the work and the ones that don't really want to. Or the appraisers come back with the 3 times as much cost and a 5 times a long wait. They didn't really want to do the job in the first place. So
Anyway.
I'm not saying that that's the case that's happened here, but
Absolutely not saying.
And if we're only using them for scheduling meetings, saying we're either here or not, or hey, you can have a packet, or deliberative, and it's not open to public
records requests. Yeah.
records requests, then I'm okay with not having one, because my biggest concern was I don't want anybody going through all my emails if
Right
they
now,
do a
when
public records request.
In the scheduling process, we're receiving documents. We're receiving notifications, documents, and so forth. So we're getting emails back and forth about updates, about this is the letter. Does everybody like the letter? You know, anything that we get. It's not necessarily deliberative, but I'm also questioning whether or not if we're using public emails, if that qualifies for an exemption from from review. Anyways, it's
Yep.
There's resistance.
It's a good
There's-
idea to just get your own email, separate email, and use that, I guess.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I created a Gmail account originally when I first joined you guys with the ZBA, just because I was trying to keep town stuff kind of separate from everything else, just so I could keep my mind straight. So, but
One thing that's not completely related, but kind of related. If you are at a meeting and you're checking your personal email or you're checking something on your phone, that's all searchable if you're doing it during a meeting. So just be mindful of that.
Yeah.
Done that, so.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind.
busy to do
That's a
that.
different thing.
My
Yeah.
phone's silent.
but
So the other
keep that in
thing
mind.
would be to provide a laptop to everybody and have a email associated to that laptop, and then it's all part of
Or tablet.
town completely. Tablet.
tablet. Stephanie likes tablets.
Yeah,
so.
that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said that our private email is not searchable?
For deliberative sessions.
Only
Well,
deliberative.
no, I'm just saying that, I just have this feeling that if there was some case where some attorney said, hey, I wanna find out what Norton's email, you know, what was the email exchange that he had with other board members, I gotta believe that that's available via subpoena, whatever. You know, I can't.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, I can't imagine that it's, if it's your private email, that it's not.
The public records request that I've had to deal with through the town was any communication involving X. Period.
Yeah.
And that, whether it was scheduling, whether it was discussion, anything, any communication regarding
Right,
X.
That's why I say I can't imagine that it's not available by some court action.
So,
I haven't had to deal with that. So, Dusty, can you tell me that if you have had, for instance, in your personal email, had sent out something about X, do they now then the records request has access to all of your personal
they
email?
don't have,
or
I had to supply.
Yeah.
I had to supply, from basically 3 different email accounts.
Yep.
Because there was no segregation. I had to I had to do a search and provide email
Right.
content from all the accounts concerning, item X
right,
and submit them back in.
but they're not like
There's
trolling
there
through
was
your.
no other, in this case, there was no other agency that was reviewing those
Right.
emails,
I
to
think
my
that would be a
knowledge.
criminal case.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think to Yubi's point, I mean, it didn't go beyond the town, my knowledge, the town manager who initiated the request or responded to the outside request.
Yep. Okay.
Well, let me just read what Greg wrote, because he didn't say no to this. He said, I can see the argument for the DRB members given that they're a quasi-judicial board. If we were to do so, I would want all DRB members to be using the town email for all town business. For example, staff is sending all materials to the town email address and not using the members' personal emails.
I think that's
That's-
a great idea.
He just wrote our request.
Right.
Yep.
If the DRB is serious about having everyone to commit to using town emails, please put together a proposal for me to review, including cost. We could put together a proposal and have them review it.
I think that's a fantastic idea, to be honest. And I mean, there's a reason why, I don't know where it is where you work, but there's a reason why I have no access to Google anything in my office, because it's Google anything, Gmail. I can receive a Gmail, but I can't receive any Google Docs or anything at my work email because of it's potentially it can be frauded easily. So I have no problems. I like the idea of putting together a request for town email. How do we all feel? Straw poll on town email. Hubie, how do you feel?
I'm fine the way it is. I'm not that paranoid. I'm just not that paranoid about it, really.
Trevor.
Well, I am really paranoid, but the way it is okay.
Yeah. Nick.
I would entertain the idea of moving forward with a town designated email. However, at that expense, I would pass.
Yeah, $1,000 a year.
There's
That's
got
a
to
lot,
be
yeah.
a better way,
And it's
a
not going
better
to go
cost.
down.
It's
So that's
And
what
I just thought of another problem with this is when you have a public email, then people decide that they should contact us directly because it's public email, and we can't answer
because it's
them.
published. Yeah.
We can't answer them because it's ex parte, so it's
So you just
It's gonna-
delete them.
Yep.
yeah, but it's going to constantly like, why didn't you answer me? You know.
Doesn't matter. I mean, that can be. I think the village or the city had statements that said, all emails should be directed to
Yep.
the community development director.
Right. So you
Any
could
emails-
forward those directly to community
Yes,
development.
and
Just
anything
immediately
Anything that was
community
sent
development.
directly
Yep.
to, the individual
Not look at
members
them.
would not be
Calm down.
responded
Yep.
to.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
There goes
You
my
could just have an
Yeah.
auto reply to it, and I wouldn't picture anybody's email would be posted anywhere. Like we would just
Right.
hopefully it wouldn't. I
Unfortunately,
wouldn't picture it being
I
posted.
mean, the
Coffee
select
with-
board emails are.
Coffee with committees, and I keep complaining about this. They put all our emails, so like everybody that's ever worked in the town has all of our emails. Like I say, blind copy it. So,
Oh yeah.
but they won't.
Did you go last week? I didn't even know. Are they still even having it?
Yeah,
Coffee with committees?
I had a nice talk with Tracy. That's the last time I went. The
Yeah.
day before she left.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So, and you feel okay or not okay with moving forward with a
I'm
proposal,
okay
but
with
not
it
for a
as a
1250
person that
on
works
one?
in an organization that constantly gets public records requests, and I don't. That just goes to IT to pull that stuff out, so I don't have to do it. I would be fine with it.
Okay.
and Greg is sure it's $12 and.
Greg doesn't necessarily know that, right?
That was
That's
IT.
IT.
It's also would be a one.
IT said it was about $12.50.
So that would also be part of the justification, would be a one-time cost, in that it wouldn't be new members coming on board, it would be a fixed cost for
And they just take over our.
They take over your license.
the license.
1 through 7.
So would it be so it's $12 a month, did you say?
Per person.
Yeah, I still question that because license is generally not purchased by individual items. You buy a bulk and you organizational discounts and so forth, so.
Well, and maybe that's why he's saying about, because maybe if we get 5, there's a different cost, and if we get 2, there's another cost.
Or maybe
I
he's
didn't
wrapping
get into
in.
that level of
Yeah,
detail with it.
Yeah.
I would say that this is gives you kind of a general feeling of it's going to be around $1,000 a year and a bit of staff time.
Okay. I think from my perspective, I think it's perfectly acceptable for us to pursue this as a potential option. I think we should put together a proposal for it. And if
Who's doing it?
I guess I'll have to. So I guess it could
I'd be
fall to
happy
me.
to work with you on it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yep. Well, be in the chair. Yeah. Okay. Yep. So some of the other things that we talked about, now that we got the email thing kind of worked out. So swearing in for, I'll go back to the first one. So swearing in for the public hearing, that was one of the ones that Hubie, you brought that up quite a bit. And so I think from my perspective, I think it makes the most amount of sense for us to swear everybody in at the beginning, open the public hearing specifically for each application if we have more than one, and then closing each application as we close it like we did tonight once we're done with it. If it warrants closing and we have enough information to be able to make a decision at that point. I'm open to discussion for that. So
So would we hit item 6, I think it was, right? Is that the public hearing 6?
6, yep.
And do we open the public hearing? Do we open the public hearing as in item 6? We're now opening the public hearing, item 6 for applications A, B,
A.
C, D, E, and G.
I think we would open up for 6A and then open it again for 6B and then open again for 6C.
Okay.
And that
So
would
open and close.
open and
Look at
close.
Each
Yep.
application.
Do you
Which-
have to give the swear in? Is it okay to just do in the beginning, or you have to do with each?
I think from what I've been able to figure out is that it's okay to do the swearing in as a mass at once. And then as long as, hopefully I'm recognizing, that's the point is I'm supposed to be recognizing who's coming in or who's hopping online that did not swear in. And so that's why I've started watching the Zoom so I can pay attention to that. And certainly I'll have to make sure that I ask, if we have somebody that I'm not certain about, did you swear in? Did you take the oath?
Yeah, well, I don't see what would be wrong with saying that, as the public hearing is open for a particular application, you say, just a
Yep.
reminder.
If you didn't swear in, you
the
make sure,
oath,
yep,
okay?
yep,
Just.
Yep.
So, you don't have to administer the oath again, but just, and if somebody's got deer in the headlights, it's like, well, wait a minute, maybe I didn't take the oath.
Yep.
Okay, so, because that's happened before.
Yeah,
You
it
would
has,
see
yep.
somebody that's come up and said, I don't remember you taking.
if somebody online has done it, say, I just jumped on, I didn't take the oath.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Okay.
Okay. Straw poll on that? Good.
Sounds
Thumbs up?
Thumbs up.
Okay. Okay. All right, so let's make sure that we're noting these changes that we want to make permanently. Can we do that? Okay. So we talked about changing the term of deliberations. Instead, we're just going to make sure that we outline in the glossary that deliberations is not the same thing as deliberative session. And we'll
Although
keep,
deliberations can occur in deliberative session.
yes, they can.
Oh, don't start.
But deliberations can be public or private.
Venn diagram.
So deliberations can be public or private. However, deliberative session is private.
No. Deliberative session, we have to declare it to be private.
No,
del-
deliberative session is always private.
No,
Delib-
is it?
No,
No,
According,
it is not. We don't, we can have a deliberative session in public.
no,
That's a
it's
discussion.
deliberation.
No, we can go into deliberative session in public. We don't have to go into deliberative session in private. That's a choice that we make.
No.
It's in our guidelines. It's in
I
our.
have to look at, because it's a deliberation and it's a deliberative session. They're two different things. I wish they were.
Agree. No,
pronounced
we deliberate for each application.
the same. I understand that.
But we can also go into deliberative session. We can say at 7:50, okay, I move to go into deliberative session at the end of the agenda tonight, which is why we have on the agenda, we can move into deliberative or executive session at will. Deliberative session can be public. People can sit and listen. We're still not taking notes and we're not doing any of that. We have to turn the cameras off.
let me take the
No,
second.
we don't.
I'm
We just
gonna
have
go
to, no notes.
Yeah, what does the VSA say?
That's what I'm going to
Can we-
right
can
now.
we leave this one? Yeah.
Yep.
let's-
Yep.
I would think that'd be clarified in the VSA.
Because if we've got the,
313.
either one.
Just letting you know, you are still live. Just taking a quick break.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have the,
313 executive sessions. That was, and 312.
I blocked
E and
mine,
F.
so-
I don't have the operating procedures.
Sorry.
Copy of the operating procedures.
We don't need to see each other all the time.
312 first.
You said they were in last time?
Yep.
I must have just had been in the packet because it's not in.
Well, we don't need to
I can look at it.
spend time. Yeah, let's double check on the VSA 313 and 312 and see what the
Because-
outlines are specifically for that.
What one?
Right to attend meetings in public bodies. E and F.
You do find in there too.
Yeah.
It's just embedded in the packet.
Yep.
That's a real pain.
Can I add something while you're?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I sort of wanted to put some of the stuff that we missed in the planning commission procedures. We talked about that, right?
Yep.
Okay. Reconsideration.
You want to relist them tonight?
I can't remember them all.
Sure.
I have them written down at home.
I got a lot of the.
One of them was reconsideration, which
Oh, yep.
which is allowed by state statute, but it's nice to have it in there, which we did in the planning commission procedures.
Yep.
And then it gave the details of, how many days they had.
Mhm.
Because there is a very short.
Okay. Anything else?
You already said the ethics and the.
Yeah, ethics. We should get that switched up. And we already took care of that. We need to. We still need to remove the consent agenda piece. Correct. That has to be.
We have one that might be an easy win, and it's a follow-up on a discussion that Brittany and I had about the report, about the format of the staff report. We'd had as a holdover from the planning commission days, there was a section called DRB additional findings. It was blank until we met and had discussions. In its original form, it was inserted into the planning commission process as a placeholder to capture the thoughts of the commission at the time, such as why was a waiver supported, not supported, what did we feel about X, Y, and Z. And it was broken out because it was easier to find it. If we embedded, the decision in the thought process by that commission had been that if we embedded it within the findings, it was lost. Because sometimes the findings were very long.
Yep.
And to find out the specific. And in response to members, and this is similar to what I've heard from you, Hubie, is what was the intent?
Right, so you put it at the end, so that's like what we did during the meeting.
It's additional findings.
Right.
It
I like
was
that.
justification for a waiver, justification for denying a waiver. Well, anything that the commission thought, again, I'm speaking planning commission of old,
Yep.
that felt was relevant to why a decision was
Yeah,
reached.
because I sometimes have that issue. We grant a waiver for the 50-foot buffer, for instance, and we are required by our regulations to give a reason and whatever.
So the alternative, and I think you did this last time, and it called it out. Brittany put in the findings, the relevant findings within the report, she put DRB found, boom. So it was still there, it was just embedded
the empty
within
bullet
the
point.
section.
So you want it at the end, is
Yeah,
what you're
within
saying.
each section.
Yep.
So it's either one of the, I think there's value to both.
You could bold it at the end of whatever the relevant section is too. That way it would be related to the question, like if you're,
Again, it
if
just,
applicant is, well, we can't do waivers, but if applicant is asking for something and then we talk about it, we could just put it in bold, in that section, DRB additional findings or something. It could be,
so again, I think there has
Yeah,
never
yeah.
been universal staff support of having that separate section as a call out. Because the
the only
findings
issue
are
with
already
that is
there.
it's not related, like it's sometimes related to something that staff already had in, so, I don't know.
So I don't know. Again, I thought I'd bring it up,
I
after
like the idea of
discussion.
having.
I think there's validity in whichever way you.
Right.
Yeah, I like having the idea of the additional findings, which with the purpose being the reasoning behind what our decisions were.
Yeah. And you
It
could-
allowed it first, the planning commission's thought at the time was that it allowed a clear spot and it showed all of it was additional findings. It didn't displace the staff findings in any way. It was just additional findings of the
Yeah,
sitting
I think it's a
planning
good
commission
idea.
at that time. We've carried that through, but again, there's another alternative as Brittany presented in a report that we looked at.
And then we wouldn't have
last
to
time around.
look for it when we're looking at the report after. We wouldn't have to try to search through the whole.
Well, part of it was that did you get them all? I mean, and I will say that the format that you used was not the format that was used prior to the addition of that separate section. So it was you really had to hunt and peck for the reasoning behind decisions or stances. Maybe it's a reason. What was the reason that? Again, I hate to keep referring to the Planning Commission, but that's where it started. Why did the Planning Commission take the stance that they did on item X, Y, and Z?
Got it.
So that's a thought.
Can I mention?
Yeah.
So when I had started working on the staff reports before, they used to say draft on them. And eventually it was taken off because it looked a little bit confusing and it seemed like I was providing, this is my final staff report, not really a draft. But really it's a draft of DRB's staff report that staff is doing on your behalf. So if we had a draft form that we're providing, and then you update whatever section you want to have updated, and then there's the final one at the end with your edits, it reads as one coherent document. I mean, you still could call out at the end any kind of changes you made at the meeting just for posterity if you wanted to. I'm not sure if it really makes it easier that way or not. I mean, if somebody's going back and trying to find it later, I guess maybe that's the question, is what's easier for people. I guess as I've been working on it, I kind of like feeling like I'm giving you something that's finished and then you're kind of adding on to it at the end. And when I go back and try to find things, to me, I find that I'm just used to doing it that way.
What do you do in the situation, because I noticed in some of these things, like you say, DRB has the option of doing this. Do you take that part out?
No, and it does get confusing when I end up updating staff reports over and over and over, trying to make sense of it, where I have a staff report, now there's some new information, now I've updated it, it's updated different sections. I want to leave in some of the old information because then I don't want to just erase all the old information. That does get confusing to try to do it.
I can certainly say that the flow of the information recently, like within the last, I don't know, probably a few months, is much easier to see, where you have, especially with the ones that have come before us a few times, you can see that there's the original information, there's the update, and then there's the update to the update, and it's really easy to follow that it's the update to the update. So I appreciate the way it's been laid out recently. So
and we've been trying to look at some other examples of staff reports. There's some other information about best practices for staff reports. It's trying to figure out how much time do we really want to put into doing this, but I think we could set up the format that's a little bit simpler to follow through, that here's what the rules is, here's what's been provided to us, here's staff's comments, and try to have a format that fits a little bit more consistently like that. Then it's a little bit clearer when you make an update. It provides a little bit of a history. So we are looking at updating the format a bit to make it easier to read and to follow those changes.
yeah, but I agree. The idea of adding the additional findings section will be super helpful, especially to codify the reasoning behind whatever decision we made or whatever questions we had.
So we'll keep it that way.
Yep. I'm fine with that. QB, straw poll?
Hey, it doesn't matter. It's like Prego spaghetti sauce. It's in there.
Yeah.
Okay, if it's in there, we'll find it. And
It's in there too.
go with it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if there's a particular finding of a particular element and we have additional findings of that element, okay, where does it go? Does it go in there or does it go at the end? Right? Doesn't matter to me.
Okay. Anything else that we want to make sure we're gonna? And do you have anything else that you wanted to make sure we updated on our procedures?
No, I just, been waiting to see a draft of what we've been talking about. And
Yep. Well, I think
do it again.
we were close on the 29th, and then we had to kind of carry it over to tonight so we could really more solidify what it is that we were looking to do. So,
Just as a follow-up, in the document that I think Catherine had put together for public participation with definition, you, correct? So the definition of deliberative session is a meeting held in private or public in which a quasi-judicial board may meet to rule on an application. Decisions can be made in deliberative session as long as a written decision becomes public record.
yeah, and I did pull up.
Is that what it says?
Yeah, VSA is similar. VSA information specifically really talks about how the fact that you don't have to be in public to make your decision. It's
But you
really what
can
they're,
be.
you can be. But it's basically everything E and F, which is what's outlined here, specifically states that you don't have to do that. So if you don't have to be in public in order to make a decision, that means you can be in private. But
Oh, that's
And so
that's
we could do
odd.
it.
But
we
you
do
could
a
be.
non-private deliberative session at a different
Correct.
night.
yep,
But then,
But it wouldn't even have to be on a regularly scheduled night. So I mean, it just,
that's interesting, because how do you make, you have to specify in the motion that,
You
Well, if
say
you-
public or private.
you say public or private, right?
Okay.
It's a private deliberative session or a private or a public deliberative session, or we're going to go into deliberations at this point, which would be prior to.
so should we make that clear in the,
Yep. Yep. So we should make
because
sure
it
that's
wasn't
out.
clear to me.
Yep. So we'll outline. Here.
deliberative session is the framework, deliberations are the action.
Gotcha.
So regarding the last application that had been withdrawn and so on, that we were in deliberative session still, and we were deliberating via email,
Which we could do.
which we can do.
Yep.
Okay, so I guess that was considered private,
Correct.
correct?
Because we made the motion to do that.
Right. So I'll tell my wife not
So
to
that-
look at my email.
Right. Yes.
We
Well,
share an
no, I
email?
just- You know what I'm saying is
Oh,
that,
God.
Well, when we get their the new Outlook email, you won't have to worry about that.
no, I just saying that, you know, like Kendall just came up, Sheila, okay? So, you know, so who's
Do
sharing
you
emails?
share an email, though? I'm just asking.
My email is, you know, like I said, when I took out that email, I said, nobody's gonna guess who they're getting an email from. It's not gonna be from Crazy Fox 985. They're gonna know it's from Hubie and Sherry Norton, okay? So,
And
we share
Sherry.
it, and we share an email,
Oh,
okay?
man.
So.
My in-laws
is
are the
that
same way.
private?
Really?
Ken and Donna Rowe. Yeah.
Could that be challenged to be private?
Right.
Not a big deal, but
Yep.
I guess my point is that if we had a super sensitive topic, that we might want to be careful about deliberating via email.
Correct. That's true. And we don't.
We could always have a Zoom meeting.
Yep.
Called anytime, because we don't have to warn it. We just have to have Ian say,
Yep.
you know, this is when we're gonna have it.
Yep. Okay. Trevor, you got anything you want to update?
No,
No?
I'm okay.
All right. Nick? Anything you
No.
Sharon, other things that you want to update?
I can't think of anything else.
Okay. Stephanie? Dusty? Okay. So we have a list.
Yes.
You want to tell us what it is?
I have, in the glossary, you'd like to have the deliberative session, that it's private and public and clearly defined. I'm gonna probably grab the example from the participation guide. You would like to correct the start time, you would like to correct chair, vice chair, clerk. You would like to have it that the public hearing is open and closed with each application. The oath is given at the beginning, and then those that are stragglers get it as they need. Reconsideration, you'd like to have that taken from, sounds like the planning commission.
Planning commissions. Yep.
Information brought over.
Yep.
The ethics should be updated to the state regulations or the state level, and we'll hyperlink those. And you'd like to keep the additional findings section of the approval letters.
Can always be struck if there's nothing to put in it.
Correct.
And I think the reconsideration language is also in the state statute.
The other one, I think, to make sure we completely confuse the glossary, is to add deliberation.
Yep.
which is the act of discussion.
Okay.
Yep.
Got
So
it.
Sharon knows what she's talking about.
That won't help.
It is confusing.
Yeah, I had both originally, but.
Yep.
I'll argue anything, right?
Okay.
So I have one other quick item out of other business.
Yeah.
If we can, and just as a question, and maybe this is can go back to the select board or something like that. I think it should be probably a common practice that if a sitting member of the select board is going to be testifying on an application, they should identify themselves as either a member of the select board or
Or
as a member
general
of the
public.
so
Yeah.
clearly distance themselves.
Yeah.
That has occurred in the past, and a select board member who presented clearly stated before he spoke that he was representing himself. He was not here as a member of the select board. Kendall, we didn't ask him that, and
Yep.
and so it can be perceived as a administrative.
Arm twisting.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Good call. Yep. Note to chair, note to select board to outline that as well. Okay. Anything else? QB, got anything else? No? Trevor, anything else?
No.
Nick?
No, sir.
Sharon?
Nothing.
Stephanie?
No.
Dusty?
Working with you. No?
Staff? I would take, we have the reading files, which include the upcoming applications that we're going to review. Before we adjourn, do we have a ballpark idea of when we might see a draft of these changes on the operating procedures? Including the elimination, which I'm sure you have written down, but the elimination of the consent agenda. Yeah.
It's the middle of next week. I can have it to, do you want me to send it to just one of you, or how about I send it to all of you and then you can come back with the next meeting?
Yeah,
Be like, yay, sounds good.
that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
If grammatical tweaks, then we are,
Do you have to put that up on the website?
Once you approve it.
once we approve it.
And Ian signs it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So moved.
We have a move to adjourn to this evening's meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh.
I got Trevor seconded.
A long time.
All right, all those in favor of adjourning this evening's meeting, say aye. Aye. Motion carries 7-0. We are adjourned at 8:07.
Recording stopped.